Hello, my Pisces Collective. This is Zaida Velgara from Becoming I Am here with your reading for April 2026. I'd like to start with giving an apology. I just couldn't do your reading. The last three signs, I was just stuck in limbo for a while, and they were telling me not to do it. And then the full moon happened yesterday, and today they're like, do it. And so I think I just needed to get past that energy of the full moon to be able to give you the true message. So that being said, for you guys that are new, I do astrology first. I pick four events in the month of April, and I see how using tarot is going to affect you specifically. Because I really do believe the tarot is more influenced by the stars than people realize. And then in the end, I do some extra tarot to give you some clarifications of whatever comes through. All right. So starting off April 9th. I'm going to be using this deck, and it's a combination of three decks, and they're all shadow decks. I think it's important for us to see what's coming up from this, because you're going to be confronting the shadow in April 9th. Mars enters Aries. That's the awakening of your inner warrior, and that is you confronting a part of yourself that has been limiting you so that you can kick its ass, I heard. So let's find out what that's all about. That made me laugh, you guys. Okay. Oh, look at that. That was weird. It flipped over and it shoved itself back in. So we have, this is interesting. I would recommend you checking, oh no, unless you speak Spanish, okay? The Spanish Aquarius reading had the right eye of Shakma. This is this one, the angel, on it. I would recommend that because I think it has some kind of message there. But look at this. We have the energy of vengeance and Shakma, the right eye. That's really interesting of this energy, because it's time for you. I feel like you've been in this energy of vengeance, like this cruel world. I need retribution. I need balance. There was so much wrong done to me. Okay. And you've been swords ablaze, cutting a bitch, because the energy's been distorted like that. And now what it has is this energy of chakma and the right eye of wisdom. And that is starting to see why it was that you were activated and looping the energy of vengeance. Um, it just reminds me of this. I don't know if it's Lao Tzu or Tao Te Ching or one of those Asian proverbs. And it says, vengeance is equal to grabbing a hot coal and throwing it in the other guy in hopes to burn him. You burn yourself first. Wow. That's interesting. So, because yes, because yes, um, that I think is going to be an activation so that you can be aware of that energy and stop burning yourself. The next, April 17th, the new moon in Aries. The important thing about this moon is that the moon is in Aries, the sun is in Aries, Saturn is in Aries, Neptune is in Aries, Mars is in Aries, Mercury is in Aries, 6 points in Aries. 6 is the energy of choice, and it's the energy of partnership. It's the Lover's card in tarot, and it's all linking to this energy of authority, of fire. Now, this is like atomic bomb kind of energy because it's so much fire. So if you're going to do something, keep in mind that it will create a massive amount of chaos. It will create a massive amount of destruction. And you have to know if you're ready mentally, because that's the most important one. Okay? People have lost their minds for doing rituals and things like this when they're not ready. And then everything goes to shit, and they're fighting demons that are themselves in spirit and emotions and in your life. Make sure you are aligned before doing anything in this moon. That being said, I want to see how this moon's going to affect you. Wow. Definitely me, I think you should see, if you speak Spanish, the Spanish Aquarius reading, because they got also the Masquerade in another deck. In this one, in the Dark Shadow deck, they got the Masquerade too, and they got it with the right eye. These are two cards that came out of the Aquarius reading. You know why it's coming up so importantly? Because Pluto is in Aquarius for, like, I don't know, for fucking ever. Okay, and that's going to affect all of us because Pluto has to do with our subconscious. And I got that same card. That's really weird. All right, so, but in a different deck, same word. That's crazy. All right, let's see how this moon's going to affect you the 17th. We have the theft. We have the catalyst. We have the walker. And we have the musician. I am going to tell you, something's going to be taken from you. The reason is taken from you. And you will feel it and you will know it. Something will be taken from you. And the reason it's being taken from you is to create radical change in your life, because you need to take things back in control, because you've been out of control for a while. Probably because of the energy of vengeance. And then we have the energy of the unknown journey, which is like, now you're going to embark into having to change so many aspects of your life that you are not fucking even aware of. And it's to create a new energy base around you, to inspire you to see the good instead of just seeing the darkness that is around you, the vengeance because of all the wrong that was done to you, right? To release that, and so that you can see the good things in the world. This is legit the energy of the worst thing that could ever happen to you results to be the best thing that could ever happen to you. A bad thing that finally wakes you up and moves you. This one gave me a headache in my temples, you guys. I don't know what this is all about. And I think it's different for everybody, because what's the worst thing for one person is not going to be the worst thing for another. But the worst thing is going to happen to create a situation where you have no choice but to wake the fuck up. You know, this reminds me of a reading that I saw. I think everything has relevance in this. And I'm an 80s kid, okay? So I'm actually from 1980 specifically. So I am, a Gen Xer or whatever. Like, there are few and in between of us. I mean, a handful. And we were latchkey kids. Latchkey kids meaning you did everything for yourself and ain't nobody got no time, because this boomer babies, they gave two fucks about us. It was all about them. And so, and what made them happy and blah, blah, blah. And there is something, I mean, they're doing research about this and doing a lot of studies about how baby boomers and that generation of the boomers, there is a high tendency of narcissism in their field. Like, there's something energetically off in their energetic field, and that is something that they're having to heal as a collective, being the boomers, right? But that narcissism created a situation where the gen right after it had to fend for themselves. Now, they also had problems because since they had to do everything for themselves, they coddled their kids, depending on the person, because this person right here is not like that, but that I'm far and in between. Okay, so they coddled their kids. So then the generation that came after it, millennials and Gen Zers, have had so much coddling that the life is so unfair, because now they have to take on responsibility for things that they never needed to do before because of the fact that they were coddled so much. So it's like some genetic, this is generational, like the different seasons and decades, and how it might, there are those people that are far in between. Like I said, I'm not the kind that coddles my kids, right? But those are outliers. The majority of the collective is the difference. And that majority of the collective would be your soul family. Okay? Because that would be your collective. And the consciousness is connected to that collective consciousness. Okay? This is, I think I'm giving you guys too much information, but I do recommend you checking out your collective consciousness and positive attributes and negative attributes of your collective, because it's kind of actually telling you what demons you're confronting. Because right here, it's vengeance. That's not fair. And somebody owes me because of what I had to live through. And my generation, because nobody really fucking paid attention, it was like, well, that fucking sucked. Swipe right. And so there's goods and bads in all kinds of generations, but I think maybe you guys should see that, because this is playing a big part on that. Yeah, and my eyes, all of a sudden I'm feeling eye boogers, but there is none. But I'm feeling them, which tells me that there are some eye boogers in you. In other words, there's things that you are seeing distorted. Okay. That went into a crazy tangent. The next thing that we're going to be looking at is the April 20th, where the sun enters the energy of Taurus. This is when you get grounded, and either you become super stubborn and no, that's not right, blah blah blah, mess of stuff, or you go the opposite and you say, okay, we need to break down this negative thought process, and we need to be able to move forward. I mean, not all of us in the same boat, right? So, and some of us, the game is a little harder than others, but keep in mind that game might be a little harder because your patterns created it harder, made the algorithm a little bit more complicated. Surrender to creativity. Didn't I just told you that you just created your reality? Let your imagination soar. Stay open to all creative ideas about how to pursue a dream or resolve a problem. This is taking a strong look in the mirror. The reality you have is a reflection of yourself. And until you heal those patterns and those behaviors, you will continue to see the same type of people, same type of energy, same type of everything coming towards you. If you feel like you're a victim of a reality, it's because this distortion is still inside of you and you haven't been able to get out of that negative pattern. It doesn't matter how many I'm totally positive, bright light energy you might be expressing. FYI. And so the last thing I want to look into is April. You know what? My pointer finger on my left side is itching. Let me hold on. I'm going to look something up. Okay. So your pointer finger is connected to the element of fire. That's on my left side. So this is that vengeance and energy that I have from before. But then on my right side, my ring finger is itchy, which is the element of water. So you're going to have to, if you want this peace for the future, you need to balance your emotions, because your fire is creating an imbalance with your emotions. So again, this is the reason my fingers are itching so bad. So April 25th through the 27th, around there, we have until May 22nd, 2033. That is 36-ish years of this energy. Uranus enters the sign of Mercury. This is the energy where you have to change your mind, to change your actions, to change your words, to change your reality. This is the energy of revolution. So I wanted to see how that's going to affect you. Wait, because okay, wait a second. I got so many out, and then they're like, no, and then I picked up and only 2 came out, so I'm like, I'm understanding this now. Okay. First thing that flew out is the energy of curse. The second one that flew out is the energy of lovers. The third one that we have coming out is the elements of elemental, and then the third one is the upper abyss. So These I created for my healings, and they're like my exorcism cards, right? We have a curse, and it says curse. Lovers, victims, lovers, past, present, future, or a close business partner is doing this. So there's a connection that you have. Now, you would think, oh, my ex is doing this to me, blah, 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 blah. People are so 3D. No, because we have the energy of the upper abyss. The upper abyss is talking about this is a spiritual contract and a spiritual lover. So you are bound to a spirit, and they're doing this to you. And we have this energy of elemental. Figure out what they want and return it. Return what is belonged. What I believe is that somebody that I'm talking to is has some kind of spiritual contract, and that spiritual contract gives them some kinds of abilities, gifts, access. Um, it is the curse, but it's also the gift. So my thought process is: so do you want the gift or do you want the curse? And I think that because the energy of vengeance is really present, um, you've wanted the gift and you've kept the curse. So now it's the decision of, do you want to let go of the gift so that you can release the curse? And um, boss move, right? Pro tip: the gift is not only like the gift and the curse is not only yours. It runs through your bloodline until your bloodline ceases to exist. And so I'm just going to leave that there for whoever needed to hear that, because I'm not going into detail with that. That's a lot of magic esoteric stuff. I'm not really sure why it showed up. So maybe what is happening here, as I'm seeing this energy with the moon, is that the gift will be taken away. That's going to provoke a catalysm. The catalyst is either you're going to go back to the same shit and do the same shit, or you're going to heal. Now that you don't have the gift, you're finally going to be able to heal. So you decide, you want to go back into that reality? Okay, it's a choice. Everything in this world is a choice. And so you cannot ascribe of being a victim if you're choosing that the gift was more important than the curse. Those that have eyes to see and ears to hear will understand. So let's see what the tarot wants to say. Maybe it tells me something more 3D, because that one was more out there for somebody. 10 of Cups in reverse. Somebody's not happy. Nine of Wands, Three of Coins. It feels like this person feels, whoever I'm talking to right now, is not happy because they feel like they have been cursed and blocked to be not being able to connect to people that will activate whatever it is that they're trying to activate. Let's say they want a partnership for a good home. They can't find that person. They want connections for a good job. They can't. All the doors are closed. They want the opportunity to have children. It seems like all they have are problems with and not being able to have that. Death card is coming to that. So you're breaking free. But look at this. We got the Six of Swords in reverse. But you don't want to move into calmer waters. Why? Girl, I don't know. The Chariot card is here. And then three cards came out at the same time. We have the Chariot card. And then we have the Four of Swords and the Queen of Chalices. I don't think that all you guys are going to make the same choice. And that's not surprising to me, because the age of Pisces is the one that we moved out of. And I have been seeing people energetically that are splitting, right? The groups are splitting because there's two earths that are like really massively split. And one of them is going to choose to go back into hibernation. In other words, choose to go back to the curse. And the other one is going to choose to heal themselves. And that's the choice. In the bottom of the deck, look at that's the choice. Tell me if that's not the fucking choice. I think what I'm going to say is you're released from a curse. Now, what choice? I tell people a lot, and I know this isn't like everybody's agreement because everybody's like, oh, everybody's spiritual one way or another, blah, 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 who messes stuff. Look, everybody can be spiritual one way or another, but everybody might have gifts one way or another. But there are lifetimes that your curse will be to choose a path of having gifts because your whole expression here on earth this time around was to learn to live a normal reality. So the more you covet and you desire and you go towards things to activate your spiritual gifts, the more you're cursing yourself in your line because you don't know how to have the ability to live a normal reality. And all of us came in here with different lessons, but whoever I'm talking to right now, your curse is to have a gift. And if you choose to have gifts, you will be cursed. If you choose to not have gifts and to be a normal human, then you will be able to pass the lesson. And that means that you have leveled up. And maybe the next time you get gifts, who knows? I don't know. But in this lifetime, there's somebody you're not supposed to have it this lifetime. And I know I'm going to trigger a whole mess of people and whatever, but whatever. I'm going to put down the message how they're telling me. Not everybody, we have this saying in Puerto Rico that says, hay gallos y hay gallinas, no todo el mundo puede ser el gallo, which means there are roosters and there's chickens, and not everybody can be the rooster. If everybody was spiritually awakened at the same time, if everybody is spiritually activating, if everybody has gifts, this place would be a fucking chaos. There are some of us that are not supposed to be that because you are creating a stable ground to live in. So others can evolve, and then the next time you get your turn, but it's not everybody at the same time. That's not the way the game works. It would shut down the game. And whoever I'm talking about or to refuses that, would rather burn and hurt their lineage and to have magic than to live a life without it. That's a choice. And everything has consequences. So, anyways, that's it.